Thank y'all so very much for having me. It is an honor and a privilege to be here before you all today. I have not walked these halls in 10 plus years, and it feels great to be back. We're at a pivotal time within our country right now, okay? Very pivotal. There's racial divide. It's an electoral year for presidency. And for whatever reason, people just seem to be on edge more so than they have been in the past. But I want you all as young people to understand that now is the time that we need you guys to stand up and show out. Be the salt of the earth as we are all called to be. So the story for me begins at 2937 Thousand Oaks Drive, right by Walsh Tarleton, nearby Cedar Creek Elementary. My father, Earl, NFL Hall of Famer and Heisman Trophy winner, graduated from the University of Texas. Football for me was implanted deep within my soul at an early age. I loved the game. My junior year, I excelled, and I excelled through the hard work and dedication of my teammates. Everything you do in life, you never do it by yourself, and never forget to give praise to the people who were helping you along the way to get to your dream. In my case, it was my teammates. Junior year went so good for me, I came out of that season ranked the number 2 prospect at running back in the entire state of Texas. I was the number 32 prospect overall. The scholarships for me were rolling in. San Diego State was my number 1 choice. I wanted to know what it felt like to be in that California sunshine. Now, I was never an arrogant person, but I wasn't utilizing the platform that I had to bring God His glory. 4 months after my 16th birthday, during the month of February, Westlake was playing Austin High at Austin High. And I made a dumb decision because I was selfish to get drunk before that basketball game. And I showed up there. Police officers had smelled alcohol on my breath, and in front of everybody during the game, they pulled me out of the stands. And I was in trouble. I eventually got home to my parents. And I had to sit there and explain to my mother and father what had just happened. The tears were pouring down my mother's face. There was a look of disappointment in my father's. He could not even look his baby son in the eye. He was so hurt. The things I had in life were because of the sacrifice and commitment that my parents had endured in their own life. I had a roof over my head. I had clothes on my back, food on the table, love at home, nothing to worry about. Young people, if you don't realize it right now, there are teenagers across this country who never know where their next meal is coming from. They have parents who don't love and support them. They have no idea where they're going to lay their head at rest. And I was privileged. The problem with that was I was not capitalizing on the privilege that I had by growing up in this great school district we call EISD. Instead of embracing it, capturing the moment, and challenging myself, I was throwing it all away in my parents' face. My father wanted to teach me a lesson in integrity and character. So he made me call every single Division I college coach that was recruiting me and apologize to them and let them know what I had just gotten in trouble for so I didn't waste their time. He wanted to teach me to take ownership of my mistakes, to stand up, and to not blame people for my problems, that I had to accept responsibility for those situations, because if I didn't, I would continue to blame things on other people for the rest of my life. So I called coaches and told them, you don't even worry about coming by the school in the spring to come see me because I won't be there. I'm at an alternative education program. I was at the lowest point that I had ever been to in my life. And I vowed that I would never, ever let anybody outwork me at any point in my life. You may be more talented than me, but you will not outwork me. I made that decision up in my mind. I did 2-a-days on my own. I would work out in the neighborhood where I lived, and then I would work out again in the afternoon at Cedar Creek Elementary by the backfields. To take things a step further, I worked out on the east side that summer with a track club called the Austin Striders Track Club. If I couldn't earn back the respect of my teammates, there was no need for me to go out for football. So I had to approach this season in a manner that was totally different than I ever had before. I earned my teammates' respect back in camp through my hard work, and it ended up being the best football season I had ever had in my entire life. I believe I still have the record here for the longest run from scrimmage, which was 99 yards. It was a great season. The only problem was individually, my phone never rang the same way it did when I was a junior. I made the decision once the season was over to call San Diego State, go ahead and commit, because that was the team or the school or the university that I wanted to play for. I called the coach, and I told him, Coach, I'm ready to commit. He said, Tyler, your scholarship's already been taken. We had another running back commit. I'm sorry, we're not taking any more scholarships at running back position for any other kids. I was blown away. The month of December hits. Baylor gives me an in-home visit. They were the only scholarship I had left on the table. 2 days after that, I called the coach at Baylor to commit. He said, I'm sorry, Tyler, we had another running back commit. We don't have any more scholarships available for you. I had nowhere to go to school. I'm the only person on that Texas Top 100 list that didn't sign on the dotted line. I was depressed. And let me tell y'all something about life. The good Lord will always have a way of testing you in various moments in your life. When you're going through something, He's testing you to see exactly how bad do you really want what you aspire for yourself? Or is it just chatter? Because if it's just chatter, He's going to put you through something that will make you give up. He wants to see how bad you want it, and that is what He was doing to me at that very moment. Said, Tyler, you want to go play college ball? How bad do you want it? And when you're being tested, it is important that you count the small victories along the way. You have to look for them because they're hard to see. In that very moment, head coach at the time, named Derek Long, he came to me and gave me a business card. It had Pasadena City College on that business card, a junior college in Pasadena, California. And right then and there, a light bulb went on in my head. I wanted to go to San Diego State. If I go to junior college at Pasadena City College in Southern California, I would be easier to recruit. I might have a better opportunity at getting a scholarship to San Diego State going to this JC. Sometimes things will come into your life that you are excited about, that will help you achieve your goals, but that doesn't mean the rest of the world is going to be excited about that. I can remember Austin American Statesman and other newspapers calling me, asking me, Tyler, do you have a place to go to school? And I would sit back and finally have an answer for them. I said, I'm going to Pasadena City College. And I was so happy. And they would say, man, Tyler, why are you going there? Don't you realize that if you go to a junior college, the odds of you making it to a Division I program are that much more difficult for you? Tough times don't last. You know what does? Tough people. I needed to be tough mentally if I was going to make it to where I was going. I go ahead and end up at Pasadena City College the following fall. I get hurt the second game of the season. For the first time in my life, I wanted to quit. I wanted to go home. But I talked to you earlier about support and understanding that you never do anything in life by yourself. I had my mother, Renee, my father, Earl, and my brother, Christian, to remind me that winners never quit and quitters never win. I was raised from a young pup to understand that a Campbell never quits. As a matter of fact, quitting would not be allowed in my vocabulary. So why would I start mentioning the word quit now? I wasn't raised that way. And it took their frequent phone calls to help me to understand that I need to get back to work. So that's exactly what I did. I reverted back to the things I did when I was in AEP. So I started doing two-a-days all over again. I would work out in the morning at 4:30 a.m. I would lift weights and I would run. And then I would come back in the afternoon for mandatory workouts with the rest of the team. And on Saturdays with two of my other teammates, I would run a notorious hill outside Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena, California. I can remember working out and doing 7-on-7 drills that summer. And I looked over to my coach who was on the sideline. He had a gentleman next to him, and that gentleman had a collared shirt on with red letters on his chest that said SDSU for San Diego State. Now, let me tell you something, young people. When you can get to the point in your life where you relish practicing, you like that time to make yourself better, when you get there, the games and the performance at that level are easier. Because when you embrace practice, you're working on making yourself perfect. When you prepare yourself for tests and put your mind at a standpoint of wanting to research things to get that A+, when you like that moment, that's when you start to excel as an individual. My number was being called that day to excel, and I needed to perform. So all that summer, I worked on pass routes out of the backfield and catching balls. And when that day hit, I showed up and I showed out. I caught every pass that was thrown my way, and I scored multiple touchdowns. 2 weeks after that day, I had a scholarship offer from San Diego State University. 4 weeks after that scholarship offer, I enrolled at San Diego State University after only playing 6 quarters of junior college football in my life. Things were going so well in my life that the good Lord decided to test me once again. My junior year, after playing BYU, last game of the season, I walked out of that football game absolutely normal. I went to sleep that night normal. I woke up in the middle of the night routinely like I always do, and instead of standing and rising to my feet, I fell smack on my face. Slurred speech, I couldn't talk. Paralysis on the right side of my body, I couldn't walk. My equilibrium was totally shot. I ended up getting driven to the hospital by a teammate. They run me through all these tests, MRIs and spinal taps, and it's learned that I have this autoimmune disease called multiple sclerosis. Some people with this disease are confined by a wheelchair. All I cared about was, can I still play football? Because football was something that gave me peace. It made me happy as an individual. And the doctor told me that I could. But if I had another problem, they were gonna take the game away from me. I never wanted anybody to feel sorry for me. I wanted you to act normal around me, so I never told any of my teammates, only my family and the other handful of people. We were working towards achieving a Mountain West Conference championship that spring. That's all I wanted to focus on. So I got back to basics and started doing two-a-days once again. I worked out in the morning with the strength coach, and then I would come back that afternoon and work out again with the team. Things were going so good, I forgot I had MS. I graduated early out of college with a business management degree. I ended up becoming the captain of the football team, and I had one of my better seasons as a senior. People said, why don't you go ahead and work out for scouts at the NFL Pro Day that would be held at the school in the spring? Shoot, I figured, why not? You only get one chance to live. And it was a dream come true because it was crazy. You would work out and you see Houston Texans or San Diego Chargers or Denver Broncos. 1 week later, MS came knocking on my door again. It happened to me in the middle of the night, a week after that pro day, and I woke up and I fell flat on my face again. I called my roommate. I said, man, we got to get to the hospital, to the ER. I get there, more MRIs and another spinal tap, relapse with multiple sclerosis. The doctor comes in the room and he comes in so nonchalant and smooth. And he looks at me and he says, Tyler, you're gonna need to do something else different with your life. And I looked at him and I said, it's okay, doc, because when one door closes in your life, another one is going to open. I did not realize it at that moment, but I had actually become one of the first few people to play Division I college football with multiple sclerosis. I get back to Texas and I start working hand in hand with the National MS Society. They gave me the honor of being an ambassador for the whole National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Now, with my disease, I battled being impotent as a male. So there was a woman. Her name was Shayna Watson at that time. She was one of the few people I told in college about my disease. We started dating. The cool part about that was I found somebody who had seen me in my worst shape. I had always feared that, man, I could never find a woman because I have to sit back and explain to her that I might not be able to provide a family after we get married. Shayna and I eventually got engaged because she was not scared by the problems I was experiencing with multiple sclerosis. You see, God had worked all of that out. He sent me somebody that I thought would have never been true. The doctors told me I might not be able to have a child. That's me and my wife Shanna and my 3-year-old son, Messiah Christian Campbell. People will always tell you what you can't do, but can your mind be strong enough to overlook that and achieve what you want to achieve? You're here to be a blessing to somebody else. Live your life by that motto. Don't live the American culture selfishness. Don't live the me, 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 me. I'll close with this. Adversity is going to punch you in the mouth and the gut at the same time in life. If it hasn't hit you yet, I promise it will come. And when it comes, I want you guys to have the mindset to understand that these bad things are not happening because you're a bad person or because God has it out for you. What's happening is he's trying to send you through something because he knows that he can use you to be a blessing to not only yourself, your family, but so many people that you don't even know because he already has it mapped out for you. but you have to open up your heart and you have to understand that you have to keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep persevering. Thank y'all for having me.